I got you.
All right, creatures of the night. Welcome to episode 211 of Talking Taker, our encyclopedic exploration digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, the Undertaker. I want to thank all of you, our Pod Street crew out there, for joining us for yet another round of Dead Man Talking. My name is Alex Dorio, and I am one of your creatures of the night, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, my fellow creature of the night. You know, he's hurt, he's tired, and he's sick of working with all these kids backstage. He's Mr. Travis White, and you know, I say that because you know, we're talking about CM Punk tonight. CM Punk in his better days of 2000.
I should be eating a muffin.
I thought you might be, yeah.
Get some apple cider vinegar tablets my wife has.
Gross. Travis, we're here. We're talking WrestleMania 29. It is the 10-year anniversary of The Undertaker and CM Punk at WrestleMania 29. I know time has flown by, and I'm excited to talk to you about it, but I'm excited as well because we got a fellow member of the Pod Street crew here along with us today. He's in the Three Timers Club now, joining us for the third time on the podcast. Threat. Yeah, in rare air up here. He's a friend of ours. He is at Watchalong Wrestling. Tommy on the spot, Watchalong Tommy, the man of many names. True story, Tommy. We're sending out Christmas cards this year, and I said, you know, I'd like to send out. My wife's, you know, doing all the address and everything. I said, I want to send a card out to Tommy. You know, she's like, oh yeah, sure. What's his last name? And I said, actually, he's in my phone as Tommy on the spot. So. Let me do some research here.
It's I had a friend who my buddy Steve who does my YouTube with me, and we made a joke once. I said, you know, my obviously my last name is quite Irish, and he said, on the spot is an Irish last name. So I think it's become a deal. But yes, that was great, and it's great to be back here. The start of the WrestleMania. I've even got the WrestleMania shirt on from last year's Mania, and excited to be with you and all of the PSK. This will be fun. This will be great to kind of look back here. 10 years, unbelievable, WrestleMania 29.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know this is definitely one of me and Travis's favorite matches of the streak. It is the final match of the streak. You know, the very next year, the streak is broken, which you were there for, Tommy, and I know you were actually cheering for Brock to win that match, famously. Yeah. But man. Both you guys, just what comes to mind when we say Undertaker, CM Punk, Mania 29? If you could sum it up just in a couple sentences, what are your memories? Like, what's the highlight of this match? Why does it hold such a special place?
Go ahead, Tommy.
So I think for me, I mean, thank goodness the match is on the show because I think without this match, I'd say the show is probably going to be remembered as one of the worst WrestleManias. The booking on the show is very, very weird. But this match, I mean, leaps and bounds the best match on the show, and it was one of those going into it where I really thought they would give CM Punk the win here, and he'd actually be able to break the streak because everyone knew how unhappy he was about having to drop the title to The Rock, going to twice in a lifetime, being left out of that. So I really thought they're going to make good and give CM Punk the match. And going in, I'll be honest, I really was worried that Undertaker, you know, at some point I figured Undertaker's going to be losing a step. That certainly was not the case this year.
That's right. Yeah, I remember being a little frustrated as a fan of CM Punk at the time, just him not being able to main event. You know, thought he deserved it the year before, him and Daniel Bryan, probably. Well, no, him and Jericho.
Jericho.
The year after this, I thought it should have been him and DB. But this year, you know, I understand the marketing stuff for The Rock and Cena, but you know, as a young fan, I wanted to be CM Punk. But I was happy with this match because it went from having no story to having a story. Real life happened. And then, yeah, they stole the show, like, incredibly. Like, nobody could hold a candle to what happened that night because they're two amazing performers. So,
yeah, I like that both of you guys kind of brought that up. It's not just – there is a very emotional, big time storyline between these guys that bubbled up because of the loss of Paul Bearer. Timely. We just covered the life and times of Paul Bearer last month. It kind of bleeds perfectly into covering this match. But there's a lot of just storylines going on with both of these guys' careers going into this match. Taker's sitting at 20-0 at WrestleMania. He's getting up there. The questions are arising like, has he lost a step? Can he still go?
Right.
Can he go with somebody younger than him, like CM Punk? Him and Triple H in Hell in a Cell, you can do all the smoke and mirrors and everything, but can he just go in there one-on-one in a wrestling match and still pull off a great match with a guy like CM Punk? And then Punk, he's got so much to prove, just because despite having this, the longest title reign of the modern era, up to that point, Roman Reigns has surpassed that, here in the modern day. But at that point, his 400-something day title reign was huge.
34, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that was huge. But he still never got that WrestleMania main event. He still never got that respect. He still had a chip on his shoulder, something to prove in this match as well. And I think all of those factors coming together is like this perfect storm to make this, such an incredible, such a memorable match. It is a match. You and I, Travis, we held it in very high esteem when we ranked our top 20 Undertaker matches of all time. We had this. I had it at number 11 in my top 20. You had it at number 6 all-time Undertaker matches. And we also ranked...
Yeah, I love it.
You do. Yeah. We ranked the entrance, Undertaker's entrance here very highly as well, because we did a special episode on the top 10 Undertaker entrances of all time last year. You had it as his number 10 entrance of all time, and I had it as his number 3 entrance of all time. So we'll talk about that. We'll cover the entrance when we get to the match here as well. We're going to do it watch-along style. We'll give you the timestamp to watch this match along with us. And Tommy, you were not there. You've been to so many incredible shows. We call you the Forrest Gump of wrestling fans before, because you have so many incredible stories. But you do have an incredible story about this WrestleMania weekend involving The Undertaker. So we're going to share that before we get into the match as well. That's why we have invited you here on the show.
Sounds good.
Yeah, go ahead.
CM Punk's entrance on this show is also pretty great. I think it's his greatest entrance,
sure is.
With Living Color playing him live out.
So good.
There's a moment or two where he's walking out there, and I'm like, this was his peak, like, as a performer, I think, in WWE. Like, he's just incredible here.
I think you could argue that. Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll talk about all of that. We'll hit all the highlights. We'll share our memories, and we will relive this match that I know we haven't watched in a long time, but we are looking forward to watching here on its 10th anniversary. But before we get into that, we've got our monthly Undertaker sightings, and boy, oh boy, was he everywhere in the past few weeks.
Yeah, dude. The
only podcast he wasn't on is ours. It seems like.
Devoted to him.
Yeah. So do you want to talk podcasts and YouTube shows, or you want to talk his A&E appearances, Travis? What should we lead off with?
Let's go podcast.
All right.
The A&E.
Well, I'll just be honest with you, man. He was so many places, I didn't even have a chance to watch or listen to everything.
Yeah, me neither. I was really looking forward to the BT Sport one with Ariel Helwani. Helwani recorded that. I think it was backstage at Rumble or right before Rumble. Maybe not after or something. Or no, it was, because it was after Raw 30 was the Monday before Rumble, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was right. It was after Raw 30, I think, before Rumble, right in between there. So, it was in Ariel Helwani's been kind of pimping it out, saying he's going to have this interview. It's like his I guess the interview of all interviews for him. So I was really looking forward to that, and it was a very good interview. And the one thing I like about Helwani a lot is that he is such a fan. He doesn't ask the same questions that everybody asks. He'll ask other questions or stuff that fans know or fans want to know. He doesn't just ask the normal things like, if you go on a CBS talk show or something. So it was very good. There were some good high points, and I don't want to spoil everything for everybody, but it was really, really good. And he talks about the Bray Wyatt experience, him and Bray at Raw 30. And, of course, he can't get Taker to spill the beans. But they just talk about, was Taker comfortable retiring and like the way he retired? And he's like, yeah. And he says, we just saw you at Raw 30 as like the American BA. And he's like, yeah, that's who I am. The dead man is dead. He's like, I won't come back in the trench coat and the hat. Like that died at Survivor Series 2020. So it was, once I came out of my shell and did my TED Talk basically at Hall of Fame last year, I put that to rest because I can't go back. You can't put the rabbit back in the hat, So and that's kind of what we thought. Hear him say it was kind of nice. And Helwani's a good interviewer, dude. I like it. And he was on Chris Van Vliet. I've come to really like Chris Van Vliet's interviews too. He has some good ones. Those are very short one, but yeah, he does Van Vliet asks normal questions, but yeah, those two I would definitely recommend. He's all over other ones too, but those two are very good.
Yeah, I'd say Helwani's one of my favorites out there too. I love Helwani's blew up because of the Undertaker being ringside for that UFC fight of Brock Lesnar.
They talk about that, yeah.
Talk about it, yeah. And Helwani says to this day, people will even go over to him and be like, "You want to go?" Which is what exactly. A really weird moment, and it just so happened Ariel Helwani just happened to be walking around and got that huge moment there. So I thought that was really cool, and I love that. Clearly, I remember from when Alex went to his one dead man show, and said that Undertaker is still a little uneasy about talking about this streak. But they, Ariel got him to really open up about it, and I mean, not to spoil too much, but I like what he said about that no, he didn't really think it was the right time to end it, nor did he thought the right time would have been for Roman to be the one to end it.
Yeah, a very good interview. Definitely check it out if you're an Undertaker fan, if you're a listener of this show. Another one of those clips that went viral or was getting spread around a lot was him talking about his Mount Rushmore of wrestling and kind of having a little hesitation to put Hulk Hogan on there, but he didn't quite go into that. But
he's let
me backtrack a little bit, though. You brought up, Travis, the Bray Wyatt stuff at Raw 30. Tommy, you were at Raw 30. I mean, give us a quick recap of being there in the arena for that moment. I mean, what was your experience like seeing that live?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was one of these deals. I mean, there's no secret. I've been pretty open about the idea that I've been dealing with Bell's palsy. So my buddy, who's really been helpful to me a lot because he's got Bell's palsy, I was getting ready to start a new job the next week, and he was like, "Hey, isn't Raw 30 in Philly? Why don't we just go?" And we had a great day out there. We went, and I went into that Raw, and I went to the Raw a couple weeks later in Brooklyn, both with very low expectations, and I'm thrilled I went. Both were great shows.
Both very good shows.
Yeah, Raw 30 in particular was it was awesome being there. They used the legends so well. And Undertaker got he got 3 of the huge pops because he had the dong go off and everyone went nuts thinking it was Undertaker. Yeah. Then he had freaking Badass go off. Everyone was going crazy for that. Then he was delayed getting out with the motorcycle. So once he got out with the motorcycle, it was oh, he really is here. I thought that was great. And it was one of these things too, where my friend is definitely kind of he's a little, I don't even know how to explain his personality, but it's more he's always kind of looking at the negatives about things. He's not one of those types of people who's going to play along, so to speak. But that show, he was throwing up his ones. He was, nice. All Undertaker came out, he was like, all right, it's pretty cool. So it was really well done. And then later on in the show, too, I loved the bit where Kurt Angle walks out with DX, and I was like, is that Kurt Angle?
That was fun.
On, and I was like, who is that? What is Kurt doing? And then they actually eventually revealed that he was there. I thought that was great stuff. Yeah. Really used the legends. I love that show.
Oh yeah.
And there was the really good tag match with Usos and who did they face? Street Profits?
I think it was the Usos against the Street Profits. No, it was the Usos against Judgment Day.
That's right. Yeah. I had a 45-minute tag match.
And then Adam Pearce allowed Sami Zayn to be in there because it did this trial of Zayn. And I will say, it's one of the first times WWE's been able to do this where the legend comes and goes, I'm not going to be able to wrestle you, but I know somebody who will. And out comes the current guy, and the place erupts and goes crazy. And they've done it at that show with Rollins and the Street Profits. And then they did it at NXT a couple weeks ago with Shawn Michaels revealing Johnny Gargano.
Yep.
It's cool that WWE is so hot right now that people are really embracing this current crop of wrestlers, and we don't have to rely on the legends to come out and wrestle, past their prime.
Yeah, I mean, even just fast forwarding to WrestleMania this year. Well, will this episode come out on WrestleMania Saturday night? There are no male legends on it, just Lita and Trish.
Yeah.
So
that's
insane. That's insane.
It's been a long time since that's been the case.
You're right.
It really has. Since there hasn't been a. I mean, because to me, Brock he's a legend, but he's an active. He's still there. He makes the big show. So I don't count him as like a Taker or Triple H or Austin last year or anything like that. He's a current competitor. So yeah, this is the first one in recent memory they haven't had a big return male star.
I guess.
And I think one of the things I'm so excited about is you have all these, like after WrestleMania, most of the crew is actually going to be there, which is a long time.
Yeah.
I will say Cena does fit that role. It doesn't feel like but he is. Right. But yeah, there's usually I had forgotten that, but there's usually 4 or 5 guys taking that one of those spots.
Exactly.
I forgot about Cena. And it's been a while. It's been a few years since Cena has too. So it's nice to see him back. Well, there's some other podcast. He was on. Can you believe I'm saying this? Undertaker was on Tony Hawk's podcast, and the Undertaker was on Mike Tyson's podcast in the past few months. Imagine me telling you that in 1998. As we're sitting there playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater on N64, and as Mike Tyson's on Monday Night Raw. Hey, 25 years from now, these guys are gonna have YouTube shows.
What's a boggle?
Well, Taker was all over the place, man. No shortage of Taker talk out there in the month of March if you want to go check it out. And then he was across TV as well. The WWE on A&E specials have been back in full force. He was obviously a big part of the Kane biography special, which aired. Travis, I know you said you didn't check out all of that.
I got about 20 minutes left, but what I've seen is very good. I mean, they talk about how that's the best storyline, the long-term storyline there ever has been, which I mentioned on, I think, last month's episode, that aside from that, like until now with the Bloodline, that probably was the longest running storyline WWE's ever had. Like there hasn't been another long storyline until like now with the Bloodline. And guess what? It's amazing, just like Kane and Taker was. So it's funny how really long-term storytelling can pay off.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I highly recommend the Kane bio. I think it's one of the better ones that they've had.
Who's your favorite part?
Oh, Kane's wife, Mrs. Kane, was the best part of it.
I can't believe she's on there. That's awesome.
Oh, she tells some funny stories on there. She was a highlight of it. I will say my only problem with it, I was telling Travis this before we started here. I wish it was a 3-hour special. It was only 2 hours, because I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, and they do an awesome job with Glenn Jacobs growing up, his college football career, becoming the Christmas Creature in Memphis Wrestling, Isaac Yankem, Fake Diesel. They talk about all of that, which he doesn't really talk about a whole lot. So they actually go in depth on all of that. And then they finally get to Kane and the Brothers of Destruction. And I look down at the time bar as I'm watching it. I'm like, there's only 10 minutes left? We're sitting here in 1998 and there's only 10 minutes left of this show? And that's like we fast forward through the last 20 years of his career, which was kind of a bummer. Like, because there's some deep cuts on there that we need to talk about. There was no See No Evil talk, barely any talk about him losing his mask and all that sort of stuff. So, man, they could do a part 2 Kane bio, in my opinion. Yeah.
No, those biographies have been great, and I definitely got to see that, because I know Kane really has not liked talking about his older gimmick, so that's cool that he did that.
I dug it.
Talks a lot about it.
Yeah, he goes real in depth on it.
Weird thing about these is, like, dude, I don't know. I love Bret Hart, but it sounds like he is gargling gravel when he's talking, man. It sounds awful.
He's had his issues.
Like, it sounds like that Miley Cyrus meme that's going around where she's like, it's funny. But no, I'm just kidding. Brett's a good, but Bret puts him over really good, because he talks about that match with Isaac Yankem. He's like, that I laid that out to help him shine, and he did a great job, because he was kind of floundering with that. Was that SummerSlam?
SummerSlam
95, right? Yeah, and talks about how Bret puts Kane over really good, because Bret, he's very critical, and as he should be. He's the best. I mean, he's one of the greatest. He has every right to be critical. So to see him put a big guy like that over, just like he does Taker, is really, really cool, man. Like, that's really kudos to Bret for putting Glenn Jacobs up like that.
And they go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Brett used to have a podcast, and he stopped doing it because every week he'd bury everyone.
Right.
He like would get so critical. If he doesn't like you, he has absolutely no issue.
Oh,
he doesn't all about letting you know. He still talks about Bill Goldberg being horrible.
Ask Bill Goldberg, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say another thing. Like they talk about the fake Diesel thing, and I think it's JBL on there. He says like, yeah, it was bad and it was dumb, but look, there were two guys there. There was a fake Diesel and a fake Razor Ramon, and Glenn Jacobs embraced it. He knew it was like a weird idea, but he took it seriously, and there's a reason why he's still here and has a Hall of Fame career, and you never heard from fake Razor Ramon again.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting, really putting over his ability to, he was in a bad place, but he didn't moan and groan about it. He was just like, let me see what I can do with it.
That's awesome.
And I never put it together, man, but he's sitting, they show all these clips of him as fake Diesel, and he's got that glove on his hand, and he's like doing this with his hand, with that glove on his hand, like Diesel used to do. And I was like, that's what Kane does that too. Kane does that with his glove. He's always pulling the glove down and sort of doing that. And I never put it together that he used to do that as fake Diesel too.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we got to talk real quick about Undertaker's other A&E special. They had a Rivals episode of his rivalry with Mick Foley with Mankind. And again, I thought this was excellent. Tommy, I know you did watch this one. Travis, I know you watched it. What was y'all's thoughts of this one?
10 out of 10, man. Awesome. Again, sometimes you can go back to the well too much on Hell in a Cell. But with these two guys talking about it, it's not some other podcast or some talking head. It's the two guys in it talking about it. It's very cool, to see them talk about. But to me, what was more intriguing was the backstage stuff with the Boiler Room Brawl, talking about that, and just talking about how that was just like it was a brand new idea. The Boiler Room Brawl thing was. It was very cool, and just to see that and to see the continuity with him getting his bloody elbow, having to not stitch it up and bust it open again the next day, so they could, the continuity would still that's just crazy commitment to character, dude. Awesome.
Yeah. I loved it, and I was telling you guys, before we started recording, I always love this segment of Talking Taker because it lets me know all the comings, and then after the show, I go and search these things. When I heard the Taker Mankind, I was like, I remember the Hell in a Cell, but I saw you put it over on Twitter, and I went and checked it out, and I can't agree more. I think it's fantastic, and I think. You remember them only for Hell in a Cell. You forget how great their rivalry was before that. They really get into it here, and it's just, as you said, those backstage pieces where they get them, doing the backstage parts of the Boiler Room Brawl, where they actually have Gerald Briscoe stop them from wrestling, and they have the little conversation with each other where like Taker's like, "You okay?" And it's like, oh, "Sorry about all those potatoes." Like, it's amazing how much footage they have.
I know.
Just a gold mine of footage that they just record everything, and I love seeing stuff like that. It's worth your while to check it out.
Oh man, like little 10-year-old me, like my mind was blown, like because you can't even imagine like seeing footage like that, because back in the day, like the business was still very protected in 1996.
Sure.
So the fact that we're able to see all this behind the scenes footage of this stuff now is so cool. And yeah, that was worth the price of admission to go watch that. If for some reason you haven't seen that, highest of recommendations to that Rivals episode. We've heard Hell in a Cell stories basically about as many times as we've heard Montreal Screwjob stories or Hogan slamming Andre stories, and we'll be hearing them till
or Who's the Third Man story.
till all these guys are dead. We'll be hearing those stories, so that stuff's fine. But they actually did a great job the first half of the episode about all the other stuff with Undertaker and Mankind. So very very much appreciated that. Highest recommendation.
Yeah, it's great.
So that kind of brings us to our topic for tonight, WrestleMania 29. Like we said, it is the 10-year anniversary of this WrestleMania. Undertaker and CM Punk. A lot of great anniversaries we could have picked from this year. We could have gone to WrestleMania 9 with Undertaker and Giant Gonzalez.
We could have. You're welcome.
WrestleMania 14, Undertaker and Kane. Although I think it's cool to choose this one. I think Undertaker and Kane that's the obvious one. That one's probably been talked to death too. This one, deserves a little more light shine on it. Could have done WrestleMania 19.
A-Train.
I was pushing for that, folks, but Alex vetoed. I'm just kidding.
I think WrestleMania 24 could have been in contention though. Undertaker and Edge. I think that's would have been that's right up here with this one for a match that would be fun to revisit.
Yeah. I'd say that like the best non Shawn Michaels and Triple H Taker Mania matches, either Edge or CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I wouldn't argue with you if you pick either one. What was that? I missed that.
I said or Batista. I guess that was really good too.
Yeah, I think that's in the conversation as well. And then WrestleMania 34, 5 years ago. And Tommy, I know we're scheduled to have a little chat about that on your YouTube channel since I got to go to that. So we'll discuss that over there. I
sat down to watch WrestleMania 34 to prepare for it and saw that runtime of 5 hours and 4 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh. It's quite long, that show.
I don't think our YouTube video will be quite that long, but
that's crazy. No, it will not be. But that is that's quite the show for sure.
Well, let's talk about your experience there at WrestleMania 29, man. I think everybody knows the backstory to this match. It's been talked about. I don't think we have to go into the history of this match, how we got to this match. And we can talk about it while we watch the match if we want to. But let's talk about your experience there, because I know you had a very unique one, and it did involve The Undertaker.
It did, yeah. So what happened in 2013 comes along. I'm now dating my wife now about 6 months. We're pretty close, though, because the whole Hurricane Sandy deal had happened at the end of 2012. So she actually had to move in with me for a couple weeks. So we got real close real quick. But with WrestleMania 29 coming around, we still hadn't been to any wrestling shows together. So with 29 coming around, I was like, I could take her to Mania, but I don't even know if she really likes wrestling. So I figured I was going to have to go with my friends. They were like, at this point, very casual fans. I figured I can get them to go to WrestleMania with me, but I'm a huge fan at this point. And so I'm like, I need to figure out a way to still be able to do all the fun stuff. I want to go to the Hall of Fame, want to go to Raw after Mania, want to go to Access. That's my big four things that I always tried at the time to go to. So I was like, how can I figure this out? So I went online. I tried to see, go to WrestleMania for free, win free tickets for WrestleMania, Google and all that. Nothing is coming up. Like, there's no chance that I could do this. Until I see go to WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania for free. So I clicked that, and lo and behold, there was a company named Jersey Cares had set up a deal where you can go and volunteer at WrestleMania Access. And if you worked, I think it was 3 sessions of Access, you got a session to go to for free, any session you wanted to. If you had worked for 4 sessions of Access, you got to go to any session of Access for free. And you got to go to Raw for free as well. And Raw was like, so this when Raw after Mania was like tops. Like right after Lesnar came, the day after Mania 28, right after they did Cena and Rock the year before. So that was like a very hard ticket to come by. So I told my friends, and we were like, they were so excited about it. We were like, we're going to get to basically go and volunteer at Access. We're going to get to this show is going to be the greatest show for us because we're going to have nonstop hype for everything. So I figured we'll do that. And then since the Hall of Fame is a classy event, I'll take my girlfriend to it. She's going to love it. It's like everything I'm thinking. I'm like, I'm going to get everything. I'm going to get to do it all. And it was actually, they took it so serious, Access. Like, it's amazing to me they seem to have done away with it because in order to do it, you had to go to an orientation. So we had to go middle of the day to go to orientation to learn how to be a worker at Access and learn how to be one of the volunteers. And we were greeted by the primetime players. And once we were doing the walk of Access to check everything out, to show us where everything was, Triple H and Stephanie were also there checking everything out.
Wow.
So that was, and also at the time, like, I have a job and I'm in graduate school, ditch everything. Like,
absolutely.
Called out of work the entire week, didn't go to any of my classes. It was like, I became so involved with all things WWE and all things WrestleMania because every day I'm making the trip from New York to New Jersey to work these events because all of them were held at the now defunct Izod Center. And it was an incredible experience. And
let me ask you that. They act like this is in New York, New Jersey, or whatever. Like, what's the actual distance?
Zip code.
Yeah. What's your time getting from where you're living to the access in the stadium? Like, is it really all that easily accessible?
Not really. Especially I'm in New York, so it is about, you'd basically need to be about 45 minutes to an hour away from where they were. And I will also say that they were very, they knew people were working access to get those Raw tickets, so they were the most strict people ever. You were late, you were done. Like, it was that. Wow. So we had to be for that Saturday access that started at 8 a.m. and the Sunday morning access started at 8 a.m. We had to be there like 7 o'clock in the morning to make sure that we were ready to go ahead of time. And it's about 45 minutes to an hour, and it's also tolls. You have to pay 2 different tolls. It's about $20-$30 total just to go back and forth. So it was definitely a bit of a commitment, not only time but also money, because of how much we were paying to go back and forth and do all that.
Well, now, did they assign you to a job, or was it just like you show up and, okay, we need 5 people over here, we need to get a couple people over here, just like, fill in wherever you can?
Yeah, so it was actually really, so I had volunteered at the time to work for a website, a wrestling news website, because I knew that I had the inside scoop as to where everyone was going to be at Access, because they gave me a card that actually showed you. So when they go, we don't know who's coming, we don't know when they switch over, everyone knows. They have the full list of people. So I was kind of like a correspondent for a website, which was great for me because they would let me know, like, hey, if you go to the city, they're doing the WrestleMania press conference and they're going to do a photo op right outside of Radio City. So get down there if you want to see that. Or they would tell me different things. So I'd be able to go and do that. But the people who were running it were people our age, the people who actually worked at these places. So if you meet them, they would let you do pretty much what you wanted to do. Sometimes they'd assign you, and they'd be like in the beginning, they'd be like, you're going to be a greeter here, you're going to be manning the line over here. One of the weird stories, there was a take a picture with the Divas booth, and it was, I guess, the Total Divas booth, because Total Divas was coming out in a few months. So they had the big sign, and Rosa Mendez was one of the, she was the premier act you got to take a picture with, who was the manager of, I don't even know what, I think Primo and Epico.
I think she was with the Colognes, yeah.
The Colognes, yeah. And a gentleman went over, took a picture with her, and asked if he can give her a kiss. She was having none of it and was like, no. And then he tried anyway. Like, when at one point she bent down, he tried to give her a kiss.
No.
And she was like, oh my God. And then he was escorted off the stage, but like allowed to stay at Access. Like, this would have been all over if Twitter was like around now, like it is back then. He was escorted off the stage and like high-fived his buddies. Like, I had to know, man, I had to take my shot. And so because of that, they ended up changing. So the next diva was supposed to be AJ Lee, and instead they moved her out and brought out the Usos about 6 months before they were popular. So the Usos were standing in the Total Divas picture, and for the rest of the weekend, you had another like random, like one day it was JTG and Hornswoggle at the Divas.
That guy ruined it for everybody.
And it was
guy.
The poor Usos, who are like the biggest thing in the world now, Usos get up on the stage and you never see everything's like clear out that line as quick as possible. I got to hang out and talk to the Usos for like hours because there was literally no one on that line for them.
Isn't that funny?
So would you say you've been down since day one-ish?
I have been down since day one-ish. And I remember the Raw after WrestleMania 29, I went to that show and they came out for a dark match. It's the first time they did the whole USA, that whole deal they were doing. So it was cool. It was an interesting experience. And I mean, I think one of the things I really loved about doing it was they basically said, you're basically like a cast member at Disney. If you ever go to Disney, they know people are going to be online for a long time. So cast members are specifically there to talk with the people, see how they're doing. So I'd be standing on one of these lines a lot of the times, just talking to people, asking them, oh, how are you doing? What match you're looking most forward to on Sunday? And meanwhile, I'm just a fan, so I'm just getting just as excited as they are. But probably the biggest thing that happened for me that weekend was Access was set up really a lot different than most Accesses have been. I know you guys were at the Access for 27.
Yeah.
And it's like in a big convention center.
Yeah.
And so walk in there, and then the VIP, if you wanted to pay like $200, you get to go meet like a legend or a top guy. If not, you get to like kind of see the wrestlers here and there. 29, they didn't really have a venue for access, so they ended up doing it at the Izod Center, which is where Raw was taking place on Monday.
Right.
So if you had a VIP, you were able to get a picture with a legend, and then you were able to legitimately walk backstage and go through Gorilla, walk in the locker room area, and go out of the entranceway where Raw actually was on Monday.
Sweet.
And look in towards where the ring was, which was really
That's
cool.
cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's unique.
So on Thursday night, they told me, they were like, you know, because basically once you became cool with the people that were running it, you tell them, hey, is there any, I got to get down there and do the VIP, because I wanted to see what the backstage area was and kind of see all that. So I was like, I want to hang out behind the scenes. I want to do all that because the NXT matches are going on. So literally I'm like standing at the right at the front of where the NXT matches were going on and seeing like Bray Wyatt, Corey Graves, those guys having matches throughout the whole weekend. It was really nice.
That's really neat.
Yeah, it was cool. Thursday night was by far the highlight for me. We had gone there, and it was supposed to be a VIP for Ric Flair. Obviously, Reed Flair, unfortunately, untimely passes away, right last minute, right before this. So Rick couldn't go, and they did announce that Ric Flair wasn't going to be there. And I had gotten the opportunity at this stage to be right underneath where the VIP signing was going to be. So I'm standing there. I don't know what this is, and they did tell people, "Hey, you know, sorry, somebody came out." What's the name you refer to Todd Grisham as?
Tool Grisham.
Tool.
We called him.
Yeah. They sent down some poor tool to go out and tell the whole crowd that Ric Flair wasn't going to be there. If anybody wanted to go get autographs, I mean, if anyone wanted to get their refunds, they can go do it, or they could take their chance on who's there to take his place. Lights shut out, Undertaker's music hits, and it was crazy.
Sick.
Because of all people, like, no one thought Undertaker was going to be at taking a random appearance here. So everyone was just leaving for, you know, joy, high-fiving each other. And now I'm looking up here, and Undertaker is literally like right here underneath where I'm standing. And I got to basically watch Undertaker interact with all of the fans for the entire 2-hour session that he was there. They keep walking over, do I need a break? I was like, I'm good. I'll be here forever.
Like, that's the Undertaker.
So, it was really, really cool. And it was one of these things too, where because you had to kind of direct the wrestlers. So like whenever the people with disabilities would come on their line, you got to be like, oh, you can go over here. There's some folks with disabilities. And most of them be like, oh, thanks. Good looking out. So with the Undertaker, I think my only interaction with him was I was like, sir, there's some folks here, you know, the disability line's starting to fill up. I don't know if you want to go over there. He's like, I'll get to it when I'll get to it when I will. And I was like, yes, sir. So, but honestly, most of the wrestlers were similar. Like they told us to tell them, but they were not happy when we tell them. They'd be like, all right, what do you want me to do? This is like a really hard thing to kind of navigate. Yeah. But it was an experience of a lifetime, and it ended up, and of course you got to do some other things too, like we did do the John Cena karaoke booth.
I was gonna bring that up if you didn't bring it up. So what was that? What does that gimmick look like?
Where you sing songs off his record, his album?
No, well, so he has some good tunes on his album, but no, it was just his entrance over and over and over. And so you got people showing up to this thing ready to do it. Like people were practicing in front of their mirrors because they'd go into this booth and it was like a recording studio booth, and so they'd be all rocking out. They'd nail every single lyric. And me and one of my buddies who were working the event were stationed on this booth, and it was endless. It felt like 10 hours because then you'd have also guys go in there and his music would start and they'd just be screaming John Cena sucks at the top of their lungs. And I'm like, like staring at me, looking at wearing a WrestleMania 29 Access Volunteer shirt and a big bright blue hat, looking like life couldn't possibly be worse. And these guys are staring at me, screaming John Cena sucks at the top of their lungs. As if this is like the most clever, funny thing they could have ever done as well. And
did they get a recording of this that they got to take home, or what was the deal?
Yeah, you do it. Yeah, so you do it, and then they would have the entrance video for John Cena start. So you'd get the little and then I'm the new, and then it would cut into your rap of it. on the entrance video of it. So it was one of the stranger deals, but people just ate this up. The line was endless the whole day. At some point, somebody was there ready to do it, and I don't know if it was like the people who were, and then if somebody messed up, they'd be like, "Oh, is there any way you could, is there a way we could restart?" And I'd be like, "Nah, unfortunately, you gotta get back on that line." And there was somebody who tried to do it literally like 3 times to get it right. I was like, what a waste of time and money to do this. But yeah, that I'd say was one of the sillier things. The other one was probably the ball pit it was like a foam pit that was set up for Hornswoggle's house, I guess it was. So people would be jumping into that. It was supposed to be for kids, but then you'd have, guys bigger than me who'd be going and trying to do it, and then like couldn't get out of the thing once they went in and did like try to do like a D'Lo Brown lowdown splash into the pit. So,
I bet that ball pit smelled terrible.
And they'd ask us afterwards too, like, "You guys want to take a jump in there?" We're like, "No, we're good." But I'd say probably the best part about it though was
a worse ball pit than a bunch of wrestling.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, it was rough. But I'd say probably, I mean, yes, interacting with the wrestlers was cool. Some of them were really nice. Like I'll never forget 3MB getting absolutely mobbed, and I don't know why, but 3MB was like, all the fans were bothering 3MB, trying to get photos with 3MB because they walked through because these booths where they were signing were upstairs, like by the entrances. So once they were done, they had to walk all the way around the corridor of the arena to get out. So they went through it, and then they were like, all hands on deck. So I actually was in there trying to get people off. And Drew McIntyre couldn't have been cooler and was like, "Thanks so much. I know this isn't your job. I really appreciate it." I thought that was a nice thing.
I think fans knew there were 2 future world champions in that group right there.
Yeah, they did. I think that people, and then I'll never forget when we did our access session. We got to meet X-Pac, and I remember X-Pac was standing up the whole time, and they were like, "You got to sit down behind the table, sir. There's no photos allowed." And he was like, "Nonsense." He's like, "I'm going to stand here. Everyone who's waited on this line to meet me is going to get a photo, and we're going to talk, and we're going to shoot it up however long they want to do it."
That's awesome.
And he did. I thought he was a really, really cool guy. So it was an incredible experience, and it was. I'll never forget going across the street to the arena, because in the middle of all this, I still don't have tickets for WrestleMania. That was like the prevailing theme throughout the whole weekend. I was like, "Hey, you're doing all these things, you still don't have tickets. Imagine you miss WrestleMania and you're doing all this stuff." So at one point, they told me, "Oh, you can go into the arena the stadium to go see the box office and go over there." So I went to go to the box office to go get tickets, and in the ring was the Funkadactyls and Brodus and I don't even know what Tenzei's name was at the time, practicing their entrance that got cut at WrestleMania. That match even happened. But they definitely were planning it.
We'll talk about why.
Practice.
Yeah, I think it's because of this match that we're covering. Well, man, yeah. So very cool. We got to be, a few feet away from the Undertaker during his surprise access section. Got to see that. One of the only people in the world that could say they got to experience something like that. Very unique, very cool, and just a few. Was it 48 hours before this match, or 24 hours? What night was it?
Thursday, so 3 days before.
Okay, 3 days before this match. So
yeah.
Very cool experience, man. So you didn't make it to WrestleMania, right?
Right.
Tickets didn't work out for that, but you did make it to Raw after Mania?
So we did the Hall of Fame with my wife. My wife and I went to the Hall of Fame, and she loved the first hour or so. Mick Foley, Chris Stratus, those are her favorites. Then afterwards, she's
Is that where Foley pins Jericho and CM Punk counts the?
Yes, yeah, he does.
That was fun.
Santa comes at the end. I think it's one of the best. I think if you want the 2 best Hall of Fame speeches, you start with the end of 28, which is Edge's Hall of Fame speech, and the beginning of 29, Foley's Hall of Fame speech. I think they're both just fantastic. And he pins Jericho, and then Santa comes out to kind of help him to leave the arena.
That's right.
Afterwards. But yeah, we did that, and then after about an hour, she looked at me and she was like, "All right, what is this? Have they just walk on it? Where's the ring? When are the matches happening?" And I was like, "Oh no, this is just the Hall of Fame ceremony." And then I think Maria Menounos comes out, then Donald Trump comes out. She's like, listen, I gotta go talk with my girls. I'll be outside when you're done. And I was like, I can't believe she hates this. But yeah, then it was like, because I was so busy doing so many different things, I didn't really have time to research WrestleMania tickets. And finally, I decided to go on Craigslist, looked up the tickets. It was $250 for on the floor, $250 each. So I said to my friend, he was like, yeah, that's incredible. Let's do it. So I went to go meet the guy in the city. The nicest, sweetest man you'll ever meet. Biggest wrestling fan, shows up in his wrestling gear. He and I are chatting up about WrestleMania. He's telling me, I can't believe how much he's going to be so bad not being able to make it to the show. And I'm like, listen, I hate buying tickets like this. Can I take a picture of your ID? So, of course. He gives me his ID, tells me to take a picture of it. So I'm like, there's no way these tickets are fake. We get to the arena, we're late. Fandango's music is playing, because remember, he fights Jericho at this show.
Oh, yeah.
And my friend and I are outside. We're literally right outside of MetLife, and tickets were fake. So we didn't get in. It was a crushing night, but I will say, one of the things I always take away from this is that night my wife couldn't go to Mania. She was studying for an exam. And that night, when she found out we didn't get into WrestleMania, she stopped studying for the exam and came over and was like, don't worry about it. Let's get some food at the house. We'll all watch WrestleMania together. And I say that's the moment I knew that was the woman I was going to marry. I thought it was the coolest thing.
I mean, the fact that she sat through the Hall of Fame with you, I think that's the moment right there.
Yeah.
and called you back the next day.
Kudos to her.
Got the strange Rob Backlund speech. She got Bruno Sammartino at the time. She doesn't have a clue who Bruno is. So it was. But I will say that's also what gave us the idea that I was like, oh, wow, maybe she'll actually like real wrestling. And that's what gave us the idea to go to SummerSlam in 2013. And then she got the bug. We went to like every single show after that, and we're going to this year's as well.
We're going to this year's. Can't wait to hear about your experience of it. It'll be, of course, documented on the YouTube channel as well.
Right.
Yeah, so I definitely encourage everyone to check out that here in the weeks to come post WrestleMania. But you weren't at this WrestleMania, but the next best thing is you get to watch it with us here 10 years later.
That's
right?
And I will say, going into this match, it was one of these things the whole weekend, because CM Punk is such a big deal the weekend. He's like the cool guy everyone wants to root for at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. So like every year there's one. When you went to WrestleMania 34, it's probably Rusev
Day. It was definitely Rusev Day in New Orleans.
So I was like, I want Punk to beat the streak. I'm going to be there to see Punk beat the streak. And then when I don't get in, I'm like, he better not beat the streak. I'm going to be miserable. So it was fun how that kind of changed things up a little bit.
We are going to talk all about it. We will share our memories of watching it live. We will share what it's like watching it back here 10 years later. And we want to encourage you to watch it along with us, all you listeners out there. We know that, it's not always easy to actually watch along the match. I think most people probably just listen to us talk about it. But, man, this would be a great one to watch. WrestleMania 29, it is...
This is season 29, episode 1.
This is season 29, episode 1. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
Just in case you were wondering.
When they came to Peacock, I can't tell you how many times I'd go in there and look, I want to watch WrestleMania 31. No results found.
What
and I was
season
like,
is it?
Yeah, what? So, yeah, that is
Wait a minute.
very odd. I don't know why they have it like that.
But now that they do 2 nights, is it episode 2?
I think it is.
The same season, is it?
I think it is.
That's amazing.
If you go into WrestleMania 38, there's 1 season, 4 episodes. The pre-show, the one night, the pre-show, the second. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep, still sucks. Yeah, we did not know how good we had it with the WWE Network, guys. And this was the last one that I'm sure we all watched on pay-per-view. This was the last one before we were spoiled by the WWE Network and then Peacock. So that's a fun memory. And Travis, I know you got a little story about that.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm at 1 hour, 48 minutes, 3 seconds. That is the video package just ended. We're staring at the Statue of Liberty on top of MetLife Stadium, which, as Tommy said, is probably at least an hour away from where the stadium actually is. The Statue of Liberty.
That's right.
So 1 hour, 48 minutes, 3 seconds. I want to encourage everybody to get that queued up on Peacock and watch that along with us. 1 hour, 48 minutes, 3 seconds. As everybody's doing that, I will say this is the 4th Undertaker CM Punk match on pay-per-view. They did face 3 times in 2009. Breaking Point 2009, CM Punk actually got a win over the Undertaker in a. Anybody remember the finish of that one?
Submission match, right?
It was a submission, and it was a little throwback to the Montreal Screwjob. So Teddy Long screws over the Undertaker, tells him to ring the bell, and CM Punk gets a technical win over Undertaker. Taker gets it back the next month in Hell in a Cell.
About 2 minutes.
Yeah, very short Hell in a Cell match.
They opened the show, didn't they?
At that match. And I thought, oh, this is it. Taker's definitely winding down. But this WrestleMania is going to be it for him because he looked horrible in that match. Like, it was a total disappointment. That was, it was like over, and then you had to sit through, I think, like, Legacy and DX main evented that pay-per-view in one of the weirdest ever. Very strange.
And now Cody's main event in Mania this year. Yeah, it all comes full circle. And a very fun match the next month on pay-per-view. It's actually a fatal 4-way with Taker, Punk, Batista, and Rey Mysterio. Sort of a hidden gem if you've never seen that one. It's like a 10-minute little sprint of a fatal 4-way, but we really enjoyed doing an episode on that one. And I got to mention, these guys, we did the complete history of the casket match on Talking Taker a couple months ago. These guys actually had a series of casket matches on house shows back in 2009 on a European tour. They did like about half a dozen casket matches across Europe. You can actually find some fan cam footage of it if you search around on YouTube, Daily Motion, and that sort of stuff. It's pretty fun to see these guys in a casket match. You wouldn't expect that. So it's cool. You know, Taker, I think he definitely thought highly of CM Punk, and actually that was something I was going to mention in our Taker sightings. He's actually recently talked about this Punk match in the past few weeks. I believe it was on Inside the Ropes. Yep. Which is a UK show. I took a screenshot of a little transcript of it. Yes, they asked him about working with CM Punk. They said there's rumors about him having heat with CM Punk, and Undertaker said, he was great to work with. I'm very proud of that match. I have no beef with Punk. He always did business with me. Don't believe everything you read on social media. We always got along. We always had good matches with each other. We talked. We ran through a lot of this stuff. He came up with a lot of ideas. I came up with a lot of ideas. I always enjoyed working with him. So it's cool to hear Taker confirm, what we think. This was a great match and that they enjoyed working together, and he feels the same way.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really nice to hear, especially because I always wondered that too, because he always complains about not being an event. But I always wondered if, like, Undertaker felt like, well, wait a minute, you're getting to wrestle me, which is at WrestleMania about as good as the main event. Like, this shouldn't be something you feel slighted with.
Yeah, if you can't be a title match, be the Taker match.
This is it. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. I'm going to run to the bathroom before we start the match. If you guys want to do the same, or if you want to keep talking, you do the same. But give me like 60 seconds. I'll be right back.
Charger just to make sure that in the middle of all this I don't I'm okay on the charge, but better to be safe than sorry, so I'll go run and do that.
All right. Took the potty break. Everybody's good. We're all set. We got our computers all charged. 1 hour 48 minutes 30 seconds. Yeah, fingers crossed. It's a long boy. So Travis, you do the honors as always.
3 months before this WrestleMania, the one I'm on right now.
Goo! Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. I'll do this. I'll say 3, 2, 1, play, and we'll push it on play. All right.
Sounds
and
good.
3, 1. Hey. We got the lights swirling around the MetLife Stadium. What's happening?
We'll say the coolest thing about this show, probably other than this match, is that the set is great.
It's great.
Love the set.
Look at this. Living color, dude.
Yeah, very, very cool.
This reminds me of Triple H coming out at 17, getting a cool entrance, but then getting beat by Taker.
Right.
Still getting a cool entrance. Like, this made me think, when Punk came out, I was like, whoa. Maybe they're gonna let him go over.
Yeah.
Because, he, like, to reward him for, his long title reign and kind of screwing him out of it. And then him and Cena had a ridiculously good match in February on Raw. Right before this pay-per-view. I'll watch that match at least once a year. It is insanely good. And I thought, so here he is. Maybe they're going to let him go over. Maybe get this cool entrance.
You got to say, I mean, he called himself the best in the world. Was he not probably the best wrestler in the world at this point in 2013?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, he takes a little time off after this and then returns in the Payback pay-per-view in Chicago. But I'd say, and then I think when he came back, he was a little, over it at that point. But right up until this, with his long title reign, he was amazing, both on the mic and in the ring. And he's just so cool looking at him over here. I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah. He was everything that I know me personally wanted as in, a wrestler, like just somebody to be a fan of, not a big body guy. Alex and I have always been drawn to guys like Jericho or Benoit or Malenko or Eddie Guerrero. And we love the big guys too, but like those little guys we've really been drawn to. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, AJ Styles. I think I can speak for Alex too. I say those guys have always stood out to us too. So seeing someone like that get to rise to the top was awesome.
Well, you and I, Travis, were Punk guys from day one. I mean, we watched we'd get DVDs of some of his Ring of Honor stuff, or look up stuff from him in OVW and stuff, and like when he debuted in ECW, it was like, this is our guy. We went to December to Dismember with our hands wrapped like CM Punk. I bought the shirt, and we were devastated they didn't win that night. What about you, Tommy? Like, how are you on CM Punk fandom? Were you in on him, or was he not one of your guys? What was it like?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I didn't really start drinking really, or I never been anything other than drinking, but never really started drinking until I was in my mid-20s. The only reason I did it was because I was like, it's just easier to hang out and try to talk to girls when I was drinking. So I started. But before that, I didn't do it at all. So it was like CM Punk was my guy. My friend and I were both straight edge, and so a lot of times we'd go to places, people would be drinking, and suddenly we became like, oh, we could actually put people down. We've been being made fun of for all these years. Now we could be cool. And they'd be like, oh, you're not going to drink anything? I'd be like, straight edge means I'm better than you. And that's like, and
I think we felt the same way, right, Travis? Mm-hmm. That's another reason why we dug him, is because I would never call myself straight edge, but we didn't drink or smoke, so it was like, God, it's cool that he thinks that this guy who is cool doesn't drink or smoke. I don't know if we're cool, but at least we got that in common.
Exactly. And he's getting cheered here. He's getting cheered at MetLife right here. Yeah, people are. He's booing. They're booing because he's the heel, but they're also cheering him because he's CM Punk, and they like him too. Yeah. Interesting. Just to interrupt here. Paul Bearer came out with the urn. That's part of the storyline here. Paul Bearer's got the urn. Paul Bearer was in the urn. And he got dumped. Yeah, Paul Heyman came out with the urn. I'm so used to saying Paul Bearer. So that's part of the storyline going forward in this match. And they kind of had this, like we mentioned, they had this storyline dumped in their lap. It was just Punk and Taker. Well, as fate would have it, Bear dying actually added to the story here. It made the story happen. And so, hate to see that happen, but it did make the story better. And here comes, what an entrance, dude. I know Xavier Woods is one of these guys. He loves this part. He loves talking about this. Yeah. Woods is one of those hands right there.
Yeah. Woods and that character that I sent you guys to come on your show many weeks ago. I'm just kidding. I think he was like WrestleMania 14.
Yeah, one of the druids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, this is whoever came up with this, man, just give him all the kudos, because this is such a cool idea. These demons, looks like they're coming up from hell and just grabbing for the Undertaker here. Really well shredder. Done. Yeah, what a vest
Super shredder here. Shoulders, I love it.
His elite figure in this outfit is great too. If you've never seen his elite figure, he's got the entrance jacket is like this big massive jacket. It's very cool.
I love it, and
I love this entrance.
Photo of all of the guys who are those little guys, the demons, and I think it's Woods. I want to say maybe even Brody Lee is in there.
Could be, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
I think it's like
timeline
all the guys.
That makes sense.
And he is very and just adding to that spectacle, the flames coming up with the Brooklyn Bridge here in the background. It's just so epic. I thought you ranked it too low, Travis. You ranked it 10 in your top 10 entrances. I thought that was too low. I think it should have been higher.
I almost forgot how nice this was until watching it here. I'm like, this is, I imagine
it's really good.
That would be incredible. If you went to WrestleMania for this, you probably are the same way I am when people put down WrestleMania 27, just because this moment had to be incredible to be there for.
Oh, without question. Yeah. I think being there in person gives you a whole different perspective on it. It makes it a lot more sentimental in your heart. And being there in person, it's always a better show than watching it on TV.
100%. And Taker's entrance 27, not to get off topic, but he comes out with Johnny Cash. Pretty
we
cool
were there.
one.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I love Punk here. He's not afraid.
Yeah.
Tell him, come on. I like that because this version of Punk where he's kind of just ticked off at the world and he's got nothing else to fight for because he lost the title. It's been his baby for the last 4 days. Or and he's lost that match to Cena to go main event. Like he's like, I have nothing to lose. So that's kind of the character he's got, So I like that. That's what's going on here.
I also like that when the first dong goes off, he completely loses. Like, come on,
yeah.
They did a documentary once about the true story of WrestleMania, and it's like a Blu-ray from way back, and there's like an extra where Edge talks about when you're in that ring and Taker's coming down, you get bumps, and it's like you start looking around like this is like really interesting stuff. Like it feels amazing, and I feel like that Punk is probably going through the same thing, and that's why he just lets out this big hey, I'm here, go.
It's easy to become cynical, but CM Punk is a wrestling fan. Like he grew up a wrestling fan. He grew up watching Undertaker. Those pictures of CM Punk with pink mohawk with Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Attitude Era. He's a guy who probably worshipped the Undertaker back in the day, and to be here in this massive football stadium going one-on-one with the Undertaker, as Teddy Long would say, that's a moment that the goosebumps have just got to be all over the place.
Dude, and he's throwing the urn around like a D-bag.
He really is. I mean, he plays like the jerky heel so well. It's maybe a little close to home for him.
And I love his outfit too. It's not lost on me. It's the colors it is. That is perfect. Get in your head psychology. It's Taker colors, Yep.
The gray
and look,
purple.
they're going right at it, dude. They're right at it.
Yep. It's a personal feud. It's a personal rivalry. There's no collar and elbow tie up here. These two guys are here to fight.
Taker, and he just powders out of the ring. Next Taker come after him. Oh!
What are y'all?
Go ahead.
What are y'all at exactly?
I am at Punk is leveling Taker right now.
156, 157 right now. 157.
Okay. Just a couple seconds behind.
Elbows to the chin.
Have him a couple seconds.
Throw him in the corner.
7.
Taker's Taker goozling.
Right.
Punk. Oh, Punk with a kick to the side of the head. Boom, kick to the chest.
Well, I gotta say, man,
Taker.
I was definitely disappointed when this Mania, when we found out it was gonna be in New York, because I still thought and hoped in my heart, they were going to keep the tradition alive of having every 10 years at Madison Square Garden. And clearly they've outgrown Madison Square Garden at this point. They're not going to go back there for a Mania when they can have 70,000 people in the football stadium. But I was definitely a little sad in my sentimental heart. I don't know if you felt the same way, Tommy.
100%. I mean, especially being here in New York, I've never been to a WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
So for me, I was holding out hope that 30 would have been at WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden, so that I'd be able to go and be there for it. 40 being in Philly, Philly's not exactly New York, but it's not that far from New York. So again, it's not Madison Square Garden, but at least it's they're keeping it relatively close to the
Northeast.
area.
Yeah. All right, so Punk has got his head beaten to the table. Taker is taking out the tiny little monitors.
Yep. Pre-HD monitors there.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And Taker looks good, man. He's in good shape.
He really does. It's amazing how every year before WrestleMania you'd always hear, oh, Taker's beat up, Taker's got nothing. He's really struggling. The Mania would come around, he'd be amazing every single time.
Well, this was in the period where he's working one match a year too, so it's like you got a lot of time to heal that body up. You got a lot of time to get to get at 100%, and I think that's why he was able to have this stretch really from Mania 23 with Batista up to this match. I mean, this unprecedented 7 years of match of the night. I mean, hard to argue that Taker doesn't have the match of the night for every one of those Manias from 23 to 29.
Yep,
yeah,
you're right.
You're right.
Well, what's on his his left hip here on his outfit? His left side, isn't it? Paul Bearer thing?
Yeah, he's got an urn. It's on the figure here as well. Here you can kind of see it if you're watching us. He's got the RIPPB, the rosary, the urn on there. Nice little touch.
Yeah,
there.
That is really cool.
The apron leg drop
is that he. Well, it wasn't at this year's Hall of Fame, but the next year he actually does make an appearance when Paul Bearer goes into the Hall of Fame, comes out and does the whole deal. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, very neat. So they've run 100 miles an hour from the get go from this. Now they're starting to slow it down. Taker with the ref intimidation.
Mike Chioda.
Mike Chioda, yeah baby.
And I actually read some rumors that Mike Chioda might be in the running for the Hall of Fame this year, or at least a referee. And I think they mentioned he was a possibility. So who knows, man? Maybe that's been announced by the time we're recording this. Yeah. Right.
By the time we're recording this, all we know is what? Ray, Muda, and
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. Well deserved.
Yeah, I think Batista fell through. He's recording in South Africa.
I guess so.
Oh, Punk throws Taker off the top.
Yep, he prevents the old school. Seems like a staple of this era of Taker matches. First time he goes for old school, it's always going to be foiled.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to change the momentum of the match. We see that a lot during this era. But it always works. It's a great way for the heel to take over Punk with these stomps in the corner. Interesting. Both these guys definitely sort of innovators as far as using MMA as part of their offense. They're both highly influenced by it, and that's part of probably why they have such good chemistry together. Although, I will say those 2009 matches with Punk and Taker, none of them were that great. So it was kind of interesting heading into this. Like, I don't know how good it's going to be.
That was the point I was about to make. As Punk goes for old school and hits it, I was about to say, you just mentioned their matches in 2009, and they were fun, but look at just how much he's grown as a performer, how much offense he's allowed to get now because he's earned that, his spot in the company. Oh, Russian leg sweep into a pin. I love it. Punk's on the offense now.
And Paul Heyman is earning his spot on the outside, too, man. He is. Golly.
One of the things I really like about these two, I completely agree. I remember going into this almost like, I've seen that match before, and it isn't good. And I remember being like, almost wanting Punk at the time to actually get the Lesnar match, because Lesnar had also fought Hunter a couple of times, or at least once going into it. But then eventually...
At SummerSlam the year before.
Yeah.
There's so many tattoos in this match.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many tats. Oh.
It's funny that Heyman is still such a pivotal part of WrestleMania. Yeah. I mean, he is going to be an essential part of this year's WrestleMania, the main event as well, with Roman and Cody. He's going to play a role, and he adds so much. You can't discount how much he's adding to this match just on the outside. Holding that urn up, telling CM Punk, that was 2. You just need one more. Need one more. He's just the best of all time.
Yep. This is his 4th or 5th WrestleMania main event because he's there. He was there with Brock in 31 and 34. There with Roman last year, the year before. So, this is his 5th one. Wow.
Every year he's playing a role since he came back. Yeah. I mean, it's incredible. His legacy is still growing, and I think it'll still be a long time before we look back and see how important Paul Heyman's role is. As Punk goes to the top.
Punk's going to the top rope, jumping out. Oh, double axe handle smash to the outside.
Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Man. Yeah.
Very
Which,
cool.
Again, we know is a big inspiration for him. I remember when Macho died, he wore those pants, the trunks like Macho. It's awesome. So, as this part of the match is a little bit slow, I'll talk about my history with this match. This is where, so this was, I never got the shows on paper. Well, I did when I lived in my apartment in college, this couple of years, and then you would get them at your apartment, Alex, and then, but this was, I was in Nashville. I was married. This is the first WrestleMania after I was married. No. I'm sorry. My years are off. This is the fourth one after I was married. But I never got to.
Oh, you got married young.
He did.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 23. Yeah, she was 20. Anyway, so yeah, this was the first year that like my wife surprised me for my birthday, which was at the end of the month. She's like, "Hey, I got you WrestleMania," and so of course it's $65 or whatever it is on DirecTV,
Right.
and we get it. And a buddy was a youth pastor, and at the time, well, she was a former youth pastor at the time because we just had our baby. But anyway. Oh, Punk with a swinging neck breaker. One of our old youth kids wants to come over and watch it. He's a big Cena fan. He wears his spinner belt and everything coming over. So he comes over to the house, and we got it going on. I had TV downstairs in the man cave. We're watching, and it's storming. And so DirecTV, what happens? Feed goes out. So feed goes out. We try to keep pulling it back up over and over again. Storm blows through. It's fine. But now every time we try to pull it up, it won't go. It won't play. It's keep giving us error. So my wife's on the phone with DirecTV, and then I don't have a smartphone at this time. I don't at all. I have a flip phone still or whatever, a Nokia or something. So, we're doing that and trying to get on the phone with them. No house phone, so we're just calling. My wife's on the phone, and so anyway, we just kind of kill some time. And eventually, long story short, she gets them to basically tell me I don't have to owe them at all anymore, and she uses her mom voice, her teacher voice, and basically says, "You're giving this to us for free, and we're going to get it for as long as we need to until you can watch it." So I got it for like a whole month or something. So I went back and watched it again after we'll watch it all the way through. But we did get eventually to bring it back on right before this match started. So got to see this live and everything. And then afterward, we went back and watched the couple, maybe 45 minutes that we missed. So but glad it made it
all
live
worked out in the
match.
end.
Yeah, it did.
And I'm glad also you got a chance afterwards to go back and check out that Jack Swagger Alberto Del Rio world title match as well.
Oh yeah, Jack Swagger. All right, Pong just got crotched on top. So yeah, I have fond memories because this was the last pay-per-view I got. I mean, my wife surprised me with it. She never I never asked to order pay-per-views. They're ridiculously expensive, and we didn't have money. So here he goes.
Taker.
Go.
He's going for it. No, the walrus.
England. The walrus.
Cuckoo-ca-choo.
He's going to take.
I was about to say, I was like, I did not remember Taker going over the top.
No, not this time. Punk with the big clothesline off the top rope. Another near fall here.
This is the last WrestleMania on classic pay-per-view, because the next year would be 14 in New Orleans, where it's on the network. So
which was so mind-blowing. You talked about $65. It really was that much to get a pay-per-view every month if you wanted to watch an HD. Yeah. So to have everything $9.99 a month was just unreal. But
Punk with a short arm clothesline going back up top.
That was the one decent thing about DirecTV was, you'd always have problems with them, but if you complained enough, they would give you stuff for free. I'd always try to cancel, and they'd always, give me a discount, let me renew for way cheaper because I just threatened to cancel. The people working tech support didn't care. They were just like, whatever, we'll just get.
The only pay-per-view I'd ever gotten refunded for was actually, and you mentioned it earlier, December to Dismember, because it went on the air 50 minutes early, and we were like, "You're supposed to get a 3-hour show here," and we ordered the show to watch Sabu in the main event. We got Bob Holly, so you better
be in there.
To their credit, they did.
Yeah,
because we ordered every single pay-per-view, because I used to have the pay-per-view parties. Everyone would come by. People didn't even like wrestling. They just wanted to come by and hang out. So everyone would throw down for it. So I say that's probably the only sad part about the network was once the network came around, everyone just watched their own stuff at home because it was only $9.99.
Yeah, I wish they'd refunded our tickets that night. Jeez.
Yeah.
I still had great. I love that night. I look at it.
Oh, what a choke slam from Taker.
Yeah, Punk.
Choke slam Punk out of his boots on that one. That was great.
To go to sleep, take a reverse it, choke slam, got a good 2 count. I will say Heyman's doing a great job on the outside being Paul Bearer. He's hugging the urn, he's holding it up when he's supposed to. Punk's pretending to get the energy from it. It's really great, man. Really great stuff. These guys are putting on a clinic. And for those of you who don't know at home, this match is going to go heavy, as they say. It goes a little longer than it's supposed to, which is going to cut the match you mentioned earlier, the Funkadactyls and the Funkasaurus and Teabag or whatever his name was, against somebody. I don't know, Lord
the
Teabag.
Rhodes
I don't know what his name was.
Scholars. The man who's
Yeah.
main eventing Mania this year was cut from this WrestleMania. Cody and Sandow.
Captured
if you-
on Total Divas because they were right at Gorilla and they get told, nah, it's cut. But it's because of this, so they didn't say anything. How are you going to say anything to Taker?
Right. How are you going to complain to him and be like, hey, my match got cut? Taker be like, tough, you know?
I've heard
Taker would say, somebody call your mama.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard Punk in an interview talk about this match, and he said, we were going heavy, and Kyoto was like, go home, and Taker's like, no, we're not done yet. Like, we got it. Like, it's fine. So, which
Wow.
is, I mean, he doesn't mean that out of disrespect. He didn't mean to hurt next match, but like, it's just they had to tell a story here, dude. And this match is the match of the night. Thank God they went heavy,
Yeah.
I don't think one person in the crowd was upset that this match went 5 minutes longer and they didn't get the Funkadactyls coming out,
Well,
sorry to say.
Like being around that time, going to the Izod Center for all those access things, each one of the pillars on the sides of the Izod Center, there were 6 of them. One of them had Punk, one had Taker, one had Brock, one had Hunter, one had Rock, one had Cena. Those 3 matches all are very long. This is a 3-match show. I mean, those 3 matches are like very long. So they weren't about to be like, they're the only other matches left other than that 8-person tag. So it's not like they're going to go, hey, Hunter, Brock, cut 10 minutes out. No way.
Right. It started at 1:48. This pay-per-view is 3 hours and 47 minutes. So for 2 hours, there's only 3 matches.
Yeah.
Wow.
Goes to show you.
Oh,
Taker going for a last ride through the Punk gets out, kick to the skull.
Ooh.
Taker falls back.
wow.
Boy.
Boy.
Front row.
Punk's thinking something big right here.
What's he gonna do? What's it gonna be?
People always complain about, they always say, there was some tasteless stuff with Paul Bear, but looking back at it, and especially in this match, it was really a tribute to Paul Bear.
Exactly.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
That's what we just said. It's easy for us to say Paul Bear would have wanted it that way, but his family has even said he would have wanted it that way.
For sure. Yeah.
Gonna go for another elbow drop to the outside. Bringing all kinds of Macho Man heat tonight. Punk?
Absolutely.
Incredible.
I always loved him pulling out the elbow.
Oh,
yeah.
The table does not break.
Yep.
Damn, the table.
I know. Every time it doesn't break, I'm always like, that had to hurt.
Oh, it hurts so much worse. It has to, right?
I know. It sounds like you want it to break.
Yeah.
Makes you fall when the table explodes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And look, Mike Chioda is being very lenient with the count out, and I think that commentary says that. This match has huge implications. It's a big match. Look at that. He sails right over. It's a great elbow drop.
I love that this is so long ago that when Punk goes and hits that elbow there, all you see are all the flash bulbs in the crowd.
Yeah.
You just have people, taking the pictures on their phones when you didn't even do the flash. Or they probably are just filming the entire match on their phone too, which a lot of people do. Oh.
Mike Chioda is counting though. He's got to Punk's back in the ring, so he's got to get this here and
got an 8 count.
I feel like this is a lost art in modern day wrestling. That last second run in from the count out.
Right.
I don't watch it as much anymore, but I just feel like we don't see that spot anymore. But it's always good to get the crowd into it.
It helps with the false finishes are an art form, and that helps with one, especially.
That is one. It's a false finish.
Yeah, it's a false finish.
Yeah.
When you come in at the last second, that's like, I don't love cage matches with the escape. They were designed to keep everybody in. It's a blood feud. It's the blow off. But I get why Vince went with that. It's a false finish. I get it. It's dramatic. It helps bring the fans in and get you on your feet. Oh, going for the Hell's Gate.
Yep, out of nowhere.
Oh, gosh.
Undertaker was kind of playing possum there on the ground, and he ropes CM Punk in to that Hell's Gate finisher. What a great addition to Undertaker's arsenal here as he got older to be able to use that submission and get so much drama out of that. But Punk reverses into a pinfall.
And go for the Anaconda Vice.
Like a lot of people, that was it. He put on the Hell's Gate. That was a match.
Oh yeah, so many times.
And I like how
Seven with Triple H just dies in that. He just he just dies.
Yep. One of my favorite, probably my favorite Undertaker WrestleMania matches is 27 against Triple H, and he pulls that out because he's desperate at that moment. Otherwise, Triple H has him.
So good.
Great shot there too.
I love this shot. Oh, perfect shot.
That's it.
Face to face. That's it. Anaconda device is still on, but Taker's getting up. He's powering out. Fans are on their feet. That is a great spot. And the cameraman was there for it. He was zoomed in at the right time. Goozle.
It's right there with the shot of Undertaker after HBK kicks out of the tombstone, where Taker's like totally exhausted. Like that's 1 and 1A right there.
Go to
sleep. Taker off the ropes. Oh, instant tombstone.
Oh, love that.
Ah, so good.
Classic cover.
Oh, Punk gets to kick out of the tombstone. So good.
Great near fall.
Love that he kicked out there. Yeah. I remember being like, this is it. He's got him.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. There's a percentage of the audience there that's saying, okay, this could be it. This could be it.
And at this stage of my life, I am in full, like, let's break the streak mode. So every time, for years, if someone kicked out of something, I was like, let's do it. End the streak. Let's go.
See, I think once he hit 20-0, I kind of thought, well, if he's not going to retire at 20-0, which I really thought he was. They said end of an era. I naively thought, okay, that's probably it. Then he comes back for this match. I'm thinking, well, at this point, he's never going to lose it. And they're not going to let him go off on a weird random number like 21-1. He's just going to keep adding to the streak forever. So in my heart of hearts, I knew at this point, he's not losing to Punk. And, next year I thought, he's not losing to Lesnar. Of course I was wrong about that.
25-2?
25-2 now, currently. That's how it ended.
I love how Punk would always say, I'll be the one in 20-1. And that was his thing. And it had a nice ring to it. So I was like, I can see it, I love this where the two of them are like throwing haymakers at each other. You see the Brooklyn Bridge behind them. Just like so
cool. Oh, and you see that fear in Punk's eyes, like for the first time. Like he's been so cocky, so confident, and finally Taker goozles him there, and you actually see for a split second, like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
And I will say, it's something we talked about on the show previously, like going back to that moment where Taker sits up out of the vice and they have that moment where they lock eyes. Undertaker did such an amazing job of having those memes and moments. Like before we knew what a meme was, every match would have a moment like that. There we go. Urn to the head.
Oh, that was perfect. In the corner, Punk is up on it. Taker's getting him up for the last ride. Heyman hands him the urn. He hits him in the back of the head with it. Now Punk is going to cross his arms over his chest.
Look at everybody standing.
Out.
Everybody standing.
Yeah, everyone. I remember everyone in the living room standing.
They had everybody.
Near fall, very reminiscent of Mania 17 when when Triple H did that with the sledgehammer. Same spot.
Yep.
And there's Paul down there. Paul is fantastic as well. But yeah, I remember that was the moment where you got one every Taker Mania match where everyone gets up off the couch, everyone's doing the 1-2, and then it's like he kicks out at the last second.
It's just a master of it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'd say that.
Here we go.
That one's probably number 2, only to the end of the era. Super kick and I agree.
It's right up there. It's Punk with the throat slash.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
Got him up for the sleep. Elbows out. Gonna get him in a quick.
So
reversing everything. Reverse city.
Slippery CM Punk gets out of that.
Yeah. Wow.
No. Taker's gonna flip him around, pick him up for a tombstone.
Wow.
Find the hard cam. And boom! Oh, let the release tombstone. 1.
Yeah, you had a little extra pep in that one.
3.
Oh, yeah.
What an ending.
The eyes go back, the tongue's out like that. You know that's the end right there.
Done. Yep. Incredible match. What even better than I remember it.
So good.
Everybody's clapping. Everybody's standing. Tons of respect. A lot of 21-0 signs in the crowd. You love to see it. Everybody came prepared for that.
Oh, yeah. So
and
good.
I will tell you guys that the next year there were many, many, many 22-0. Like, no one thought Lesnar was the one who was gonna who was gonna beat him.
Like I said, it was just an afterthought. Of course, Taker's gonna win.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think my whole experience going there, coming back home, and then being like, you don't want when you miss a show like that, you don't want it to be good because you don't want it to be like, you know, you missed something that was so great. So I remember after this match being like, wow, that would have been that match would have been the one you'd want to be there for.
Yeah.
I don't think I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it much more now even than I did then. I think this match is I think gets overlooked because it comes after the great as you called it, was it a quadrilogy? Is that what you guys?
Quadrilogy. Yeah.
With
the four
Shawn and Taker matches.
The DX.
Shawn the Shawn and Hunter matches.
Yeah, but it's a great one there, and you're right. What a moment there when he hits him with the urn. Everybody stands up like, this is it. We're gonna witness history. And then it's like, no. And how do you follow him? Like, that has to be like, Hunter's had so many where he's had to be like, throughout his history of having to follow such great matches where he knows he's got no chance to top it.
He's had some bad luck with that. No question.
Yeah. WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, most of the time it's after Undertaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Taker's going to have the urn here. Got the replays. Look at that standing ovation. I mean, the crowd is just #pork. I don't know what that's about, but I like it. He's crying. Taker's got tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
Paul Bearer. It's amazing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that really is.
And he was tearing up, dude.
Like, and I think what's so great is, like, because he was so protective of the character, it's like you didn't see him doing this stuff ever. So this was like, oh, wow. He really is a human being under all that, you know?
Yeah.
Incredible pyro.
Incredible pyro. He's doing the Shakespeare pose next to the urn, again, in memory of Paul Bearer. It's just beautiful, man.
They even pulled out the fireworks over the Manhattan, New Jersey skyline there, and got everything. Really.
Shows you how close these guys were too. What a special relationship they had. That he's, wants to pay this tribute to him and makes it such a priority, such a focal point of this as well.
You could have easily. I mean, you weren't going to do it because Rock and Cena, but you could have closed with this. This would have been a great way to end the show.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Yep. No one would have been upset about that.
There's an hour and 25 minutes of Mania left, and there's 2 matches. Just let that sink in.
Unbelievable.
So yeah,
yeah.
That guy right there, 21-0, another great shot. That sign holding up right before Taker, right behind Taker as he walks away. Love it. Great match.
Took a minute to be like, yeah, that was good. I appreciate it.
It's so good. He's getting the smoke as he walks out too on the way. That's a nice little touch.
Really, really good stuff.
So both guys, Punk and Undertaker, I think silence a lot of doubters, silence a lot of haters with that match. I don't think a lot of people really expected this match to be as good as it was. I think people thought, yeah, they could probably have a decent match. They're both, great, two of the greats. They'll pull off something decent enough. They're not going to stink up the joint, but I don't know if anyone said, yeah, Taker's age at this point, these guys are going to steal the show in the way that they did. That's what was so unexpected and so awesome about it.
Well, yeah, because Punk been stealing nights with with Cena, with Daniel Bryan, with Cena, with Daniel Bryan, some good matches with Rock, honestly, fun, entertaining stuff. So yeah, you an aged Undertaker, and then but again, Punk was firing on all cylinders, so you weren't going to stop him. He definitely, that was his last Mania match. So
yeah, wow,
what a way to go out. He it's been 10 years and he hasn't had a Mania match since. So pretty incredible way to go out. Go out high with the Undertaker match. I'm sure at the time he won't think of it that way, but maybe now he will. I mean, his older age and he has a chance to look back at stuff. Who knows?
it's interesting. We had mentioned earlier how Undertaker at this stage is in his career where he's doing one match pretty much a year. I think he did it 26 through this match here. This one is so good. I really think it made Taker go, I can do more than this. Because for the next few years now, he starts doing the next night. I think it's the next night. I was there. I'm pretty sure it was. For some reason, drawing a blank. He does some stuff with the Shield, where he gets involved with them, and then he does some stuff a little later in the year, going into the stuff with Brock Lesnar in 2014. Has a couple matches that year. So it's interesting that he starts picking it up again. 2015, I think he has like 3 or 4 matches.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it totally reinvigorated him, gave him a lot more confidence to be able to go out there. And, it extended his career. I agree with that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Really great. Good to look back on that one.
Absolutely. I think it holds up. I think it still belongs in our top 10s, Travis, as far as all time. We'd love to hear from you, match. Our Creatures of the Night. We'd love to hear your opinions on it. Did you watch it along? Does it hold up? Where does it land for you here on its 10-year anniversary? Of course, you know where to hit us up. We're at Talking Taker on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then, we're on all the podcasting services and on YouTube. We hope you subscribe. We hope you follow us. We hope you leave a comment, leave a message. Let us know your thoughts on this match here 10 years after the fact. Sorry, brain fart there. 10 years after the fact, let us know.
Cody Rhodes, so what do you want to talk about?
Of course, Travis, everybody can follow you at Travis White Music, and you've been posting a little bit of new music here lately. You posted some new songs on your YouTube channel.
I'm not going to the studio or anything. I'm just doing stuff at home, just writing and recording. I actually got a new one in my head right now, so we'll see.
Follow you there. And Tommy, let everybody know where they can follow you. Of course, we love having you here. Like I said, our 3rd time. We try to get you in here once a year and have you join us for an episode. But you're doing a lot more stuff over on YouTube.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We have, I'd say we've been putting out these long forms. Me and my buddy Steve, we did one about the summer of 2007, going into doing a look back at SummerSlam 2007. But obviously everything that happened with the Chris Benoit stuff, Vince McMahon's limo blowing up, and really what it was like to be a fan during that period of time. Alex also joined the top 10 greatest Royal Rumbles of all time. Thought that was a lot of fun.
Great show. Yeah, I really
bounce off each other there. And then I've been doing the vlogs as well. We did our first one this year at Raw 30, which I mentioned earlier. Then we did the Raw from Brooklyn as well, and my next one will be when you guys are listening to this, probably in a day or two, we'll start the unraveling of my WrestleMania vlogs. My entire week, I always when I go to WrestleMania, I put up the whole week of vlogs, and we also had some look backs. Alex is joining me to look back at his journey through WrestleMania 34. My friends and I, we also got together and talked about this very show, WrestleMania 29, and all the fun that came with it, because the next night is a great show as well with Dolph.
Great show.
Yeah.
His bank and the birth of the Fandangoing Dan.
Fandangoing.
So, lots of fun, lots of hype, and I always have a great time over there. Honestly, I do a lot of that. Whatever interests me is normally what I create content with on my YouTube channel, because you've got to have fun with it. But happy to talk with all of you. If you do want to check that out, it's Watchalong Wrestling, and you can find me on Twitter at Watchalong Comedy.
Absolutely. We encourage everybody to check that out and to give you a subscription, give you a thumbs up, like them all, check them all out there. Appreciate you joining us here. Travis and I, we also did a little guest spot. We did a little run-in on the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast on their 316-day special episode a couple of weeks ago.
What?
They covered, how about this? They covered a episode of WWF Live Wire from 1996 where Stone Cold was running crazy on there. Very fun episode, and there's a big chunk of that Live Wire episode devoted to the Buried Alive match between Undertaker and Mankind, so they tagged us in to cover that section of Live Wire. So check out our buddies at the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast if you need a little more Talking Taker fix in your life. A little bonus episode of Talking Taker jammed into that episode of the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast.
Happy birthday to your daughter on the day this comes out.
That's right, April
That's
1st.
right.
Yeah.
April Fools.
My daughter will turn 1 the day this comes out, so happy birthday to her.
Any day?
Turn 21 tomorrow on April 2nd, which will be great.
Who will?
My wife. She's not really 21.
Wait a minute.
It's her birthday tomorrow. She gets to celebrate her birthday at WrestleMania every year. So what else can you ask for?
That's the dream right there.
You could ask for anything more.
Shout out another podcast friend of ours, Collecting Dead Man, at Collect Up Dead on Twitter. Steven Zeman is his name. He sent me a couple more Undertaker figs to add to my collection and some special gifts there. So thank you to Steven for that. Great friend and a great show as well. Shout out to another listener who has been a newer fan. His name is Ian Milligan. And I believe he came to us through the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. He has been messaging us on Facebook, telling us he's been checking out some of the shows. He's been diving through 2001, some of the episodes he picked to go through, which is a wild time in Undertaker's career. Some fun stuff there. But he's been enjoying it, and we love hearing that. We love hearing that from everybody out there. Don't forget our whole archives. You can listen to the entire career of The Undertaker totally free. The archives are up there everywhere you listen. You can go from match 1 at Survivor Series 1990 all the way to the Boneyard match, everything in between. It's WrestleMania season. Go back and listen to the whole streak. Check it out. We love to hear from you. They're fun to revisit. If you haven't heard them in a long time or if you've never heard them, go check out the archives. And like I said, check out the YouTube channel. You never know when we might have some exclusive stuff on the YouTube channel. And next month, May 1st, we'll be back with a bonus episode, and not a bonus episode, our monthly episode, that is. Travis, I got an idea. I'm going to throw it out here to you live on the air. A couple things we didn't cover, but it's the 25-year anniversary of them. So going back to 1998, Undertaker had a match on a show called Mayhem in Manchester in 1998. And it's not on Peacock, but we have other methods of finding that match of him and Kane, so I thought we could cover that, and then maybe combine that with Over the Edge 98, the main event, Stone Cold and Dude Love, because the Undertaker is the special enforcer on the outside of the ring for that match, and that is one of my favorite matches of all time. So I thought maybe we could discuss that as well for our May episode. It'll be the 25th anniversary of that. All right, May 1st. Check that out on your podcast feed. And last but not least, April is your birthday month, Travis. So I sent you a little birthday gift. You got a box there to unbox. And so actually, Travis, this gift, I meant to give it to you back in 1999. I had all these presents to give you back in 1999, and I just forgot about it. So I unearthed it here in the basement. And I was like, well, let me just go ahead and send it to him. So it's 24 years late getting to you.
Well, let me open it now?
Yeah, of course.
All right, here we go. Taking the box out. Holy crap, dude. This, all right, first of all, how do you know? Is this a door knocker?
It's a door hanger, yeah.
Do not disturb watching wrestling.
Yeah, put it out there.
Wow.
Because I know your kids always want to disturb you while you're watching wrestling.
Exactly. Oh, big, sexy air freshener. Wolfpack style. Can you see that? Why is it blurring it up? Sorry.
How's that smell?
Cigarettes. I'm just kidding. It doesn't. It probably won't smell like anything. That's amazing. I love that. I'm not going to open that thing.
Oh, no, you got to put it in your car.
Commemorative ticket, Goldberg, the original commemorative ticket. It's individually numbered. Goldberg defeats Hogan. I was there that night.
Exactly.
Wow.
Can you see it? Is it showing it? Let me turn the blur off. If I can turn the blur off. I don't know how to turn the blur off. I don't know how to do that. But anyway, all right. We'll figure it out. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. There you go.
Who's next?
Look at that. From number 134 of the collection. That's awesome. The ticket, at the Georgia Dome KFC presents. I was there that night. That's amazing, dude.
Wow.
That's awesome. Case opens for autographing.
I know you're not a memorabilia guy, but I saw that and I was like,
but this stuff
you were
cool,
there, man. You got to have that.
Yeah.
You got to have that.
I was there. I got 18 free meals for HelloFresh. Thank you. A coupon for Harry's. Oh, wait, we can't do it in the men's case.
Wait a second.
And then a freaky flying disc of Sting Frisbee. Holy crap. Flies great. It hangs on the wall. Collect them all. We got Sting, Goldberg, Hollywood Hogan, or Kevin Nash.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Thankfully, you got me the Sting. What a creepy thing. Did you get this at that store down in Greenville?
I got it at a vintage store in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Amazing.
Called Crow Mag Toys. But yeah, you
I love it.
You could toss that Frisbee around with your kids or with the dog.
I will. Frisbee right now. Seriously, my boys are loving Frisbee, so we'll take that thing out, toss it around in the park. Dude, this is amazing. Thank you so much. I did not see any of that coming. So,
I don't think it's possible to see any of that coming.
Dude,
that's amazing.
There was one you did on the channel where I did not see it coming. You had opened up, like somebody got you, like, maybe it was Travis, maybe it was, but like a chair from the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm sitting in it right now.
Yeah, that's like, you guys got some cool stuff. I'll give you credit. That's awesome. I got to get this big blank wall behind me at some point.
It's time. It's time to start decorating the background.
I opened that Kevin Nash keychain you got me. Remember that one? And the batteries inside of it, I got to find the battery. The batteries inside obviously don't work. It's from 99 or 98. But I have little tiny batteries for my guitar, but I don't have one that small. So I'm going to get some small batteries on Amazon, and then we'll see if it works. So it's like a keychain that makes noise and stuff. So, yeah, got me good Kevin Nash stuff, Sting. Oh, man, Goldberg, this is awesome, dude. I'm WCW'd up right now.
Hey,
I love it. Thank you so much.
Your car's going to smell like Kevin Nash. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing.
And it works well with the Undertaker tie-in because I think it was this month, they had a great moment on Twitter where I think somebody said, I wonder what Stone Cold thinks of this AEW wrestler.
Yeah.
And Kevin Nash chimed in and said, well, I know he ain't watching the show. Taker wrote, huge pop.
Huge pop.
There's no better way to go off the air here than that.
That was so cool.
Way to go off the air than with that right there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Huge pop. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, brother.
You're welcome, man. Happy birthday. Sorry it took me 24 years to get that stuff to you.
It's all good. It's worth the wait. Trust me.
Well, huge pop to Tommy for joining us on the show here tonight. So glad to have you along. We'll do it again sometime. And thanks again to...
Next year is the 10-year anniversary of another big Undertaker match. So maybe we'll connect.
It might be penciled in on the calendar right there. I think it might have to be. So thanks again. Travis, why don't you wrap us up?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys. If you were there this night at or New York, whatever you want to say, if you were there, let us know because Tommy wasn't there. But let us know if you were there, what your thoughts were to the match. Did you care that it went heavy and long and you didn't get to the Funkadactyls? No, you didn't. I know you didn't. So anyway, all right, yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. Happy WrestleMania Day. Happy birthday to Joan. And happy April Fool's Day or Lurpa Sloof, if you know what I'm talking about. It's a throwback there from WCW calendar. Anyway, stay safe out there. And more importantly, easy.